Hello everyone, it's time for another story that you all voted for. Today's story is called Buried Under Clover, and I hope you enjoy it. Subscribe for more stories. He was 6'0" when she met him that day. He was handsome and brooding, with not much to say. They say mystery in a man is an attractive trait, and this tall, dark, and handsome asked her on a date. He showed up early, paid for dinner, and drove. But when he went to take her home, he didn't turn down her road. He drove out into the country where the stars look bright, and unfortunately that girl went missing that night. The next one he had went missing in May. She was quiet and homely, with not much to say. He took her and her sister both out on the town, but they vanished that night when no one was around. Then he dated one woman with brown hair and green eyes. That time he was careful and wore a disguise. She wore a tight black dress and closed-toed heels, but she couldn't run fast enough with him behind the wheel. He took any nice girl who would give him a chance, but can you really blame a girl for just wanting to dance? But one day he got cocky and messed with the wrong one. She had legs for days and spit fire for fun. She was a golden blonde lady with blue eyes and big lips. She had curves in her name and swing in her hips. They went line dancing after dinner and had so much fun. But when he took her on home, she came undone. She scratched and clawed and almost took out his eye. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how she survived. Well, he quickly changed his name and moved out of town, but he'd still keep on killing if he wasn't found. That's when she came to me, and she told me her plight, and we wrote up a plan to get revenge that night. They call me Kelly, and I'm the talk of the town. I do one thing in particular, and I'm the best around. The girls all know me, so they're never scared. I get rid of bad guys, and they're well aware. This guy needed to disappear or else he'd kill again. Luckily, that's my specialty, so soon he'd be a dead man. He could beg and plead his case, but I'm not one who forgives. To slaughter directly any man who hurt animals, women, or kids. Of course, the fewer who knew, the better off the plan, so I sent Blondie home when I went after that man. It was late at night when I came to his door. He wasn't expecting what I had in store. I knocked at the door, and it swung open wide, and there he stood there in all his ego and pride. He said, "Well, hello, lovely, you must be my date." And I smiled politely and said, "Sorry I'm late." He was nothing remarkable, though I kinda wish he was. He was just smooth enough to escape all the fuzz. Though he certainly had that Ted Bundy look, and something extra about him had me quite shook. He had black eyes and pale skin, like he hid from the sun, and I realized why all those women had been undone. This wasn't just a simple man, he was a monster indeed. He was an undead heathen of a terrible breed. He was wicked and spiteful, and killed them for the thrill. This man had to die and would be the last kill. We went for a walk shortly after our date, and I kept my guard up, make no mistake. I wasn't swayed or swooned by this man at all, but I understood now why so many did fall. We walked out into the forest where many women had died, but this man didn't know. He was in for a surprise. The blonde he had taken, who actually got away, told me his game plan, so I knew his whole play. He would turn at this rock, step over that log, but then just as he did, I suddenly forgot. What had she told me? What did she say? Why'd I feel so strange in this bizarre kind of way? Had he slipped me a pill or a drug like you'd think? I didn't know for sure, but I hadn't had a drink. All at once I felt at peace, like the world was all right. There were birds and frogs and crickets chirping that night. The moon was quite full, and the breeze made me feel calm. And my adrenaline had relaxed. Something was very, very wrong. I knew he'd try to kill me, but my legs couldn't run. This had gotten out of hand, and I thought I was done. Then about that time, I heard a voice from behind. It was Blondie, all right, and she was there to stop a crime. Though the one she had committed, well, that might have compete. But she kept me alive and upright on my feet. She had taken a crowbar and hit him right over the head. He fell to the ground in a moment, and soon he was dead. She explained she had followed and that she knew of his drug, though why she didn't tell me I didn't exactly love. But we dug him a hole and rolled him on in, and we buried him under clover like the women before him. They may not get to live, but then neither does he. We swore on our secret, and now she works for me. Blondie and I go all over the state. We find serial abusers, and we take them on dates. They always say yes because, like the man before, they never suspect just what's behind the door. I do the actual hit since her stomach's not for it. Some people can't stand blood, but me, I adore it. I'd make a pretty good serial killer if the truth was known, but I only go after those who hurt others, you know? But the clover itself has become my new card. I leave it as a warning, and it's not really that hard. So next time you see a small patch of green, remember my story, or at least this one thing. Clover grows best where it can see the light. So be careful in the shadows when you go out at night.